So here's my question for today. When you see a dagger aleph in the Quran, is that part of the original rasm or consonantal text? Or was that added later, like the dots and the short vowels? And why are there so many verses in the Quran where the dagger aleph appears in one Arabic Quran and not in the other? And how does it change the meaning of the verse? Let's take a look at some examples, then please tell me what you think in the comments section. In my previous video, we saw that there were at least 80 official canonical Arabic Qurans. We looked at one example in Surat al-Fatiha, where the addition of a dagger aleph changed the word from maliki, owner, to maliki, king. Let's look at some more examples where the dagger aleph appears in one and not in the other, and what that changes. Today I'll focus on just two of the many official canonical Arabic Qurans, Warsh, which is commonly found in North Africa, and Hafs, the one the majority of Muslims around the world use today. Before we get started, a quick note about navigating the Quran. Verse numbers appear at the end of the verse. Also, these numbers were added later as a reference tool, and they don't always line up exactly the same way in the different Arabic Qurans. So in our first example, we'll look at a verse in chapter 2, Surat al-Baqarah. It's verse 184 in the Hafs Quran, but 183 in Warsh. In this verse, the Quran tells Muslims what to do if they can't fast. The Hafs Quran says, feed a miskin, a poor person. In the same verse in Warsh, a dagger aleph appears, changing the singular miskin to the plural masakin. So which is it? If you can't fast, so you feed one poor person, have you fulfilled your religious obligation or not? Maybe you have to feed 3. The addition of a dagger aleph makes an important difference here for Muslims trying to practice Islam. In our next example, we'll look at Surat al-Imran, which is chapter 3. In verse 146, Warsh uses the passive voice kutila, which means to be killed. The verse asks, how many prophets were killed? Hafs adds a dagger aleph, changing the passive voice to the active voice, which changes the meaning to how many of the prophets killed. English translations typically use the term fought, but the root, qatala, is to kill. We see the same variant in chapter 47, verse 4, but using the plural. Hafs uses the passive verb kutilu, were killed, and Warsh adds the dagger aleph, making this the active qatalu. Hafs says, then the ones who were killed in the way of Allah, He will never send their deeds into error. Warsh, using the active qatalu, says, and the ones who killed in the way of Allah, we will never send their deeds into error. In chapter 10, verse 2, Warsh tells us that the unbelievers say, this is surely a work of magic. Hafs adds a dagger aleph, changing the word sihr, which means magic, to sahir, which means a magician. We see the same variant in chapter 28, verse 48, this time using the dual tense. Hafs uses the word sehrani, which means 2 works of magic. Warsh adds the dagger aleph, changing the word to sahirani, to magicians. So which is it? We see several examples where the Warsh Quran uses the word kul, the imperative for say, but Hafs, adding a dagger aleph, changes the word to qala, meaning he said. For example, in chapter 21, verse 111, Warsh has Allah telling Muhammad what to say. Say, Lord, judge with truth. Hafs has Allah telling Muhammad what Muhammad said. He said, Lord, judge with truth. We see this again in chapter 43, verse 23. Warsh has Allah telling Muhammad, say, what, even if I brought you better guidance than what your fathers were following? Hafs adds that dagger aleph, meaning that Allah is telling Muhammad what Muhammad said. He said, what, even if I brought you better guidance than what your fathers were following? There are many other examples where a dagger aleph changes the meaning of the verse. In chapter 4, verse 5, Hafs adds a dagger aleph to the word qiyaman, which means something of value, changing it to qiyaman, meaning a means of support. In chapter 13, verse 43, the dagger aleph is moved, changing Warsh's singular kafir, which means infidel, to the plural kufar, infidels, in Hafs. In chapter 6, verse 115, and again in chapter 40, verse 6, the dagger aleph changes the singular kalimatu rabbik, which means word of your Lord, to the plural kalimatu rabbik, words of your Lord. In chapter 42, verse 33, a dagger aleph changes rih, wind, to riyah, winds. In chapter 66, verse 12, a dagger aleph changes the plural kutubihi, his books, to the singular kitabihi, his book. Of the many Arabic Qur'ans, and the many variants among them, this is just a small slice, looking at one letter, the dagger aleph, in just 2 Qur'ans. In my next video, we'll look at more differences in the rasm, the original consonantal text. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments section. Thank you.